Well, it's Friday. It's not only Friday, actually, it's daytime. I'm trying to beat midnight this time. I don't know if I can do it, but I will try. My glasses are dirty. Is that any better? No, they are still awful, but who cares? Well, it's Friday. Busy. Busy, busy. Also, no, it's kind of a red letter day, sort of, for me. I finally, I know I've said a few times, wow, I don't have any more jobs. Oh, the old jobs. And I didn't, I truly didn't, but I did. I had two different watch jobs, and all of them were fairly gnarly. And so I'd sort of, they were at the end, the very, very end, the last ones that I did. And I've kind of been dreading them for years. It also, because of so many, it just never seemed real. I did not believe that this day would come. I couldn't even think about it. And I think even getting close to it, I had to comfort myself by saying, well, we're done. And it was true in the sense that all those customer jobs are gone. These last two are people that I've talked to and known for a long time. So, but they're gone, man. They're gone. The packages are gone. Mail took them. They're gone. So I think the longest the job log was 197 jobs. And that was in 2014, 2015, 2018. Oh, no, wait. No, it was 2018. That's when this started. It was like January, February 2018. 197 jobs, and that's 197 customers, and many of those had multiple watches in them. I'm so grateful for all this stuff. I'm so grateful for my wonderful life, and this great hobby that keeps us going. It's an extreme privilege to be able to do this and be able to talk with people and be able to chat about watches and live this. This is a good life, and I'm very grateful for it. Just got to keep it rolling. Just got to keep it rolling. Okay, well, you know what? With that rumination aside, let's jump in with wrist check. Okay.
Okay, wrist check. I'm back to actually wearing watches on my right, so that's kind of my everyday watch now. It's nice having it here because with my right, it actually feels like it's in front of me and I get to see it. So, those of you who are familiar, this is a Leisure 7500. It is known as the poor man's Hoyer, and it's known for that because it is a Hoyer. It was made by Hoyer, wholly made by Hoyer, but just rebranded for Leisure, and that's the original bracelet that these came on. That's the correct original bracelet. They had the bead blasted type and the much more common black PVD coated one. Those tend to look pretty ratty, so sometimes you can get those for cheap. It has the same dial and everything else. Everything under the hood is the same. I always wondered if you took one of those PVD ones and bead blasted it, if it would look better. I would think it would. Anyway, this is my everyday watch. I love this watch. I love this watch. I love everything about it. It's awesome. And the other wearer is actually a new arrival. Because I was working on Steven's 6105, Super 6105. I ended up building another one. So this is a Super 6105. This is the original insert that came. This is an original 6105 insert. I've never seen one with this sort of odd damage on it, and I'm going back and forth. I like it. Sometimes I like it, and other times I'm like, I don't know. I mean, because my instinct is, if it had like a perfect one, like a really, really nice. Hang on a sec. Okay, so this is a 6105. 6105 8000. So I'm not using this, and I'm not taking this apart. That's original. That's genuine. But so there it is now with the current worn one. That's pretty. That's pretty badass, isn't it? I might have to start looking for a better insert. But I mean, that's the original insert. I don't know, folks. What do you think? That the original with this crazy wear, or something with a new insert like that? So if you all want to put your votes down below, you can go for it.
Okay, on with the questions. Mark Irvin, you are starting to look like the wild man from Borneo. I guess so. You know, I'm wearing more clothing, I think, than what someone like that would wear. But you know, it's a lot hotter over there. I don't know. I think I cleaned up pretty good. I like the way it looks. I like the way I look. I only regret that I spent decades of my life cutting my hair and all this other stuff because I didn't think I could or should. Everybody had a haircut you can set your watch by. I didn't get to be loose and free. But you know what? I really do think it suits me. Okay. Okay, so this is Sidewalk Astronomy Netherlands. Restore the Timex already. Perfect watch. And then I'm going to read a long thing here. He's talking about his personal preferences for watches. I included this because I thought, I don't know, it's just there's so much so much individuality in watch preference. People say, hey, I want to buy a watch for a gift or for someone, or get something for my dad or something like that. And I'm like, I can recommend generically kinds of watches, but man, until you get something on your wrist, you just don't know. Anyway, here are this gentleman's preferences. I like to see a watch with no bling, with hands that draw attention to the time, not to themselves. No confusing extra small clock faces on the face of the watch. Normal numbers, no Roman. Clear, elegant, precise. With a nice NATO strap. No skin-eating metal strap. No crazy colors. It needs to be automatic and waterproof, but I don't need to swim to the bottom of the ocean. No big watch brand names on the face. Go sell your stuff on a billboard. It has to be running well. It has to have the date. If it is a digital quartz watch showing numbers clear, no extra stopwatches, alarms, AM. Oh, wait. Okay, that was it. Alarms, date. Boink. Okay. If I'm discussing a digital watch preferences, it has to be showing numbers clearly with no extra things, no stopwatches and any kind of stuff like that. No alarms stuff. No AM, PM, just the 24-hour, so 1 in the afternoon is 1300 like it should be. In short, a bling-free, no-nonsense, non-confusing watch, not too small, with a band that fits, not made for a hobbit, a child, or an Englishman. I don't know where Englishmen fit into that, but he definitely put that in there, so I included it. I don't know. For me, I understand. So you're talking like some of those Max Bill, oars, those Max Bill like super pared back three-handers with just the stick hands, with no loom or anything else like that, totally stripped back. That's cool. For me, it's really getting to the point where it's got to be mechanical. It's got to be automatic. Got to have at least date. Date is better, but date is fine, but it's got to have that. Loom, it must have loom. And I'm now getting to the point that I really want functional loom. So it either has to be there or I have to be able to put it there. Oh no, hang on 1 second.
So last week I talked about this watch in Monaco and how the original bracelet, which I do have right here, if that is it's just, there's something about it that just doesn't work for me. So Ryan Walters said, well, why don't you try one of them there perforated straps? And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. So I dug through and I found 3 that I would consider, so I figured I'd get some opinions. There it is. There's the first one. Blue. Okay. Then we got, being that I'm a Broncos fan, orange. Okay, there's orange. Let's look at blue again for fun. Okay, and the last one is one of these handmade straps. It's sort of a light sort of, I don't know, sort of a light sort of a, almost like a sheepskin or something like that. You have to sort of pretend it's in there. Oh yeah, with these tack sewing things. I don't know. You folks tell me what you think. 1, 2, or 3. Or orange, blue, or natural. Orange, blue, or natural. Okay, that's it.
Okay, we're back. I had to let Kraken out. Oh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, gotta have a date. Date 8 preferable. Must have loom. Must be automatic. It has to be made of what it is. I don't like plated stuff. Extra coatings, I never know what to think about those. So even like, I think the only kind of like surface finish that's like anodized or anything that like that I like is gun bluing. I'm kind of amazed that actually a watch has never been made with a, or I'm not aware of a watch that was made with like old school like hot salt bluing. Well, that just goes on steel, not stainless steel. I don't think you can blue. You can heat blue stainless steel. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but I like things to be what they are. Stainless steel is stainless steel. If it's silver colored, it should be silver or stainless steel. If it's gold, it should be gold. That kind of stuff. I like. There are a lot of Seiko's designs that I enjoy. I enjoy because you see the actual materials they're made of, like the pogs, those gold dials. You're seeing the metallic elements of the underdial. I like that. Water resistance is definitely something that I don't think about because I never go near water with my watches, but I'm very serious about seals. So it's got to be, if it's got 1 crown or 2 crowns or 5 crowns or whatever, as long as the gaskets are all neat and nice and clean and the way they ought to be, and I can consider it dust proof, it'll probably be more than fine for its original depth rating if it ever had one. But it's one of those things I never want to find out unless somebody until somebody I trip and fall into a pool. Until then, I don't keep anything near water. Oh, and that sweet size is 36 is the least I'll wear, but my sweet is really 39, 40, maybe 41. Clean and clear design. I don't like Baroque weird stuff. Bah, who cares? Okay, Connor Whitworth. It's funny. Talking aftermarket. I picked up an SLA 033, the Willard reissue. The quality is there almost Grand Seiko. You know you're wearing a good watch. Zaratsu polishing, great 8L35 movement, rock solid build. But being a modern Seiko reissue, the Seiko logo is printed rather than applied, and even though the loom is obviously hand applied and uneven, which is a nice touch, the indices and dial look more like an aftermarket you'd find on a Franken Willard. Yes. The frustration with Seiko being unable to reproduce exact reissues continues. But then he goes on to say, in defense of Seiko, maybe we should be looking at their modern models as paying homage to the past, but as being very separate watches in their own right and upgraded with modern components and building techniques. Like the Mazda MX-5 was a modern interpretation of the Lotus Elan. For example, the SRP 777 isn't a 6306/9. The SPBs aren't really Willards at all. The SLA 033 isn't a 6105, but I have to say it's growing on me. That's an excellent comment, Connor. That's a great comment. There's a lot of things about that that I'm behind. The first thing about the printed logo, I've noticed that on a lot of those L watches, they don't have anything applied on the dial. I think it might be because of the height of the hand stack. I don't know that that's true. That's just thought out of thin air, but I have noticed that, and I remember at a certain point looking very closely because that applied logo that gave it a real like kind of fancy edge, made it a little nicer. It's an unusual thing to see. I mean, the 6105 had it, but I don't remember any of these 8L movements having dials with an applied logo. I could be wrong. Seriously, what do I know? But it's my impression that that was the case. There wasn't enough clearance, so you couldn't go with an applied logo or anything applied in the dial because there wouldn't be enough room for the hands. So that's my take on it. Yeah, the hand applied loom. Yeah, it's beautiful. Isn't that really cool? But then, yeah, the tops of the markers, they have this weird like blobby thing going on. I mean, it's always been frustrating to me that they won't take that one thing and really sit with it, especially considering it was such a distinctive Seiko thing. I mean, round-topped marker tops. I mean, Rolex gets away with it. Okay, so maybe fine. It's kind of a Rolex thing. But I will tell you that those flat, sharp, perfect edged markers, that was a Seiko thing. There are a lot of companies that do that blobby thing from cheap all the way up, which is why it kind of looks so generic and sloppy. But that absolutely knife-edge sharp stuff, that was Seiko and should be now. They should do that now. But, they didn't. It would be, for Seiko to produce an exact reissue, it would have to be the same watch. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be the same watch, and either made on identical tooling or on the original tooling from the correct original materials in the same way, using nitrolacquer dials over metal. Every stainless steel, you'd have to recreate every single part. That would be a reissue. You're reissuing that thing. That's my take on it. If it's like, a modern thing, like a Marine Master versus a 61597, blah, 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 that is more, homage than anything else. But it is absolutely, I consider them to be utterly separate watch lines, because they are. But even aesthetically, the deviation from the original is, there's enough deviation and there's enough of a certain kind of deviation that it erases the sort of visual uniqueness that made the 6159 so cool. They made the Marine Master case. The sides of the original case are like this, right? Well, the Marine Masters, they wanted to make them big and tall, or maybe the stack is too tall in the damn movement or something. Who the hell knows? So, for the case, then they added material in the middle. So instead of the case being like this, it actually has this flat section on the sides, and it makes it look kind of burly, and it throws off the proportions, and it goes from being sort of elegant to sort of lumpy. So yeah, I completely agree. I don't, utterly different watches that just happen to resemble each other. I did not know that the Mazda MX-5 was a modern interpretation of the Lodi Ceylon. I did not know that. Oh no, I enjoy these points to talk about the new watches and the old watches and that they're different things, and they should be enjoyed in their own merits. I entirely agree. Speedy Paul. Oh, talking about the Timex on the Old Man Band. I think the Timex will be almost unserviceable. I believe the movement wasn't designed to be taken apart. Kudos to you, Spencer. If anyone could do it, I'm sure you can. Well, we'll see about that. Yeah, as far as I know, they're not meant to be serviced. I mean, it's not like the movements are expensive. I guess I could pull everything and see if something's worn. The plates are made of really kind of like malleable, ductile stuff. So, I mean, in theory, you could change clearances that way. Except for the mainspring, I mean, you could run the whole thing through like one dip and see if that made it any better. Unless, of course, there's like it has a major problem, like a broken staff or something bad like that. The movements absolutely were supposed to be fully replaced. I got a huge watch lot, tools and old things, many years ago, a long time ago. It was from the state of a watchmaker in Cincinnati, and but he wasn't even previous generation. He wasn't even post World War II. This was somebody who grew up working on pocket watches natively, and the very last thing that he appeared to have done were Timexes. And so I got a ton of that stuff, including a lot of brand new movements in these like metal clamshell cases. I had no idea what to do with them. I didn't think I'd ever want them for anything. We put them on eBay as a giant lot, and I think somebody bought them for 100 something. I don't remember. It was years ago. But I'll try to service this one, and we'll see. But that said, the replacement movements, the original Timex movements, you can find them on eBay. Timex made so many of them. Okay. Okay, this is talking about Rudune. This is they did that 6105 homage that I kickstarted apparently into worldwide dominance. J Meller 12. Please do a review on the new 6105 8110 they made! Exclamation point question mark. I'd love to. I'd love to. If they want to send me one, I'd be more than happy to look at it. I really would. The issue is that they wanted a lot of my help to do work on their 6309 homage, but they wouldn't even send me a test piece to look at. They said that if I helped them with all this design work, that they would consider a discount. I have no idea how much money they made off of my review, my 6105 8000 review, just in terms of business driven to their site. I never even got a thank you. But anyway, but if they want to send me one, I mean, I'm not going to hold a grudge against them. Whatever, they're around the world. We've never worked together. We don't know anything about it. I'm sure it's entirely likely it's a lost in translation thing. If they want to send me one, I'll review it. Send me one, send me a couple of them. I'll review them both, keep one, and send the other one back. I don't know. So if anybody knows those dudes over there, tell them to send me a watch. Sorry, totally. I'm trying to remember the watch model this was about, because it was on what video it was on. Totally frozen. I wish mine was that dirty. I inherited mine from my dad. He was a pilot and scuba instructor. I think my dad took it in to have a new battery put in and the crown removed, and did not replace the O-ring, so it was no longer waterproof. By the time I got it, it's rusted inside. I'm furious, but only half as much as my dad had been. I like yours. Nice video. Oh, God, I can almost remember what that was. Hang on. I was right. Seiko 7A287049. Okay, so your dad took it in, put a new battery in it. They didn't replace the O-ring, and it got water inside. Okay, it's rusted inside. It's dead. How does the watch itself look, though? Like, how are the dial? How's the dial? How's the hands? What color's the loom? Is it still white, or did it turn black? Or how much water got in? Because the movements on those, the 7828s, they're not that hard. I mean, they're not inexpensive, and servicing them is quite the undertaking, but it absolutely can be done. Everything depends on the cosmetics of your watch. So the dial in the hands and the chapter ring, that stuff, if it looks good or even decently serviceable, if unless it's just flat out destroyed, we can bring that watch back. I have those movements, and I certainly have the expertise. It would be an investment, but it absolutely can be done. And you can at a minute, well, they're great movements. In any case, I'd be curious to see pictures of your dad's watch. So if you want to send me some photographs to kvw at kleinvintagewatchrepair.com, that would be awesome. Send that to me because I'd like to see it. Okay, this next comment is about the 6138 8020 Pandas. Mainly Music Man. I thought you said they didn't use loom. Well, I'm not quite sure, probably have a miscommunication there. There were some 6138 models that were JDM, Japan only, that were not loomed. But Pandas were always loomed. The Pandas that we think of, they're loomed. They have black syringe hands with a white loom, no loomed second hand, and every baton marker has a loom pip on the outside. Yeah, so they're loomed. Okay, next one, Roberto, RO63RTO. Hey man, I haven't seen a question from you in a long time. Nice to see you back. How's life? Anyway. Okay, this is a comment on a video about a 6139 8002. That's kind of like there's sort of a the cases are shaped a little bit like there was a particular kind of hotel soap we used to get, little bars. Anyway, it's just sort of it's sort of a thing. It'll come to me, but it's one of those neat chronographs. Back in 2018, I managed to pick up a really nice case. It has a lightly scratched crystal, but that's easy to replace. Case lines are pin sharp, and the brushing is beautiful. Difficult part is getting a case back, as it came with one for a 6119 7080. I think that's, I'm not sure which one that is. Bit by bit, I hope to get parts to assemble a complete Dash 8002. Send me an email. Do. I'm certain I have case backs for an 8002. I know for a fact I do. Though the only one I can remember is pretty worked over. But at a minimum, I do have one. Okay. Mr. James Duffy of the Sandwich Time channel. Okay, remember folks, I was musing a few weeks ago about our cat Milo and all of his white fur, and it would get everywhere, poof, and we're still finding it. And I questioned that. I always thought, seeing we're so high and lots of wind, whether any of Milo hairs, because he produced a ton of them, went into space or orbited the globe or whatever. So, referring to that, Mr. James Duffy says, pulling out my dusty physics degree, a Milo hair will not fall at the same speed as a more massive object through the atmosphere because the atmosphere is not a vacuum, so mass is relevant. Given how dust and ash from volcanoes and forest fires can travel to the other side of the world, I would have to say a Milo hair will travel and will travel analogously. Analogously. That's not a word I've used in conversation ever. Analog, sure. Analogously, that's a new one. Wow. I would have to say a Milo hair will travel analogously and end up falling somewhere on Earth, or forever travel the wind currents circumnavigating the globe. Oh no, I get it. I bet, they pull up a kilogram of material from the ocean floor underneath the Arctic ice and find it has like 3,000 microfragments of blue denim in it. And that's true. That really happened. There has to be, I would hope there'd be a time that you could actually have a datable layer, geologically, the Milo layer stuffed with white hairs. Okay. Okay. these are more about, these next questions are about people responding to me talking about the fact that I'm so incapable of taking notes because of my ADHD that it didn't occur to me. I haven't thought about it in so long that I only use my memory. And so this is, well, JC, for the love of God, write everything down and back it up to the cloud. Dude, I can't. It's not like I'm not choosing to. I'm not angry or anything. I'm just sort of explaining. It's not like you. It's not like. Yes, I understand that. That's a great idea. I think about making lists all the time. Sometimes I do it quite infrequently. The problem is that I can't maintain that kind of a system. I don't have something. I don't have the. I don't have anything that would that would compel me to automatically write this stuff down. And if there was some program or something that was like, "Are you writing stuff down?" poking at me, I'd be like, "What the hell are you bugging me for?" And I would turn it off, and that would be the end of it. And this isn't. I mean, the problem is I've tried. I don't even know how many different systems of organization I've attempted to put in place. It's a miracle that I was able to get as much as I did towards having an active online job log, which I did. I had job log. I had to have a job log, and I created that, and that's backed up to the cloud, and I still use that going forward. The other stuff, you can't. It's again, this stuff isn't like a choice. I mean, if I could be more organized, man, wouldn't that be great? If I write something down, it's written in the wrong place, or I haven't prepared to have it be in the right place, or there isn't one place for it to be, or there isn't one format for it to be in, and I don't. The best I'm able to do, this is it, for any kind of consistent anything, I have. I have 4 documents open in my notes app, only one of which I use, and the one of which I use is just for random thoughts. Like, just random thoughts that if I don't write it down right then and there, I'm going to forget it. So just random thoughts. But any of the other stuff, like I've tried writing down my loom formulas. See? Just a few minutes before. That's what we want. I've tried writing down loom formulas, and the piece of paper was literally like a piece of paper that I found, wrote it down. And it was originally with the looming stuff, and then it fell out, and it was somewhere. I haven't seen it in a while. We've cleaned up well, so it's not down there, and I don't know. I tried writing on the looming box supply box itself. I wrote the thing on there. The box fell apart eventually, and I put it in a new box, and only later did I realize I'd recycled the old one. It's just the act of trying to maintain documentation is prohibitively exhausting mentally. Like, it's like, and in some cases, you just can't do it. This isn't like ADHD isn't like sort of willful idiocy or any of that kind of stuff. This is a physical difference in the brain. It's a physical difference that's out of view. So I'd love to write everything down. This video thing, I think that's the best amount of documentation I'm ever going to have. There's no way for me to top it. It's in terms of completeness, it's something I do habitually every week. A lot of knowledge is saved in these videos. Perhaps somebody's going to be able to someday run them through a language gatherer and, convert everything to text. Maybe they'll find some good nuggets in there then. I don't have any place to put anything to save where anybody would find it. You should see the file storage, how my files are saved on my computer. I mean, my desktop is perfect, and I've got a, it's not bad. It could be worse. Okay. Watch talking. On the note of ADHD and taking notes, I found texting my own number, a thought. Grocery list item has been a lifesaver. Grocery lists and that kind of stuff, I use, it's a free app called Our Groceries. And what's nice is like if you have like a family, multiple people, Sabrina and myself, we have this thing and it shares between our phones, so we can add and remove things to the list, and it automatically does it on both phones. So I use it. I use that app religiously. For notes, I don't bother. I literally I just have this document, and I sort of put random thoughts in it. Like I said, but that's what I do. Notes app, and I don't know, anything more complicated than that, I just can't cope. I can't deal with it. Like I have all these songs that I'm writing. I have literal songs I've been writing. Stuff that's coming up. I'm having to write it in my memory while I'm learning the parts that I'm writing in my head, because I can't even, not only can I not write them down, wouldn't know how to write them down, but like I can't figure out or force myself to learn like something as simple as GarageBand. I tried. Ooh, man. People with severe ADHD like me, if you try to force something like that to do it, we had to laugh. This is from the quote was from the Mayo Clinic about this stuff. Is that people on this level can actually become so sort of bored and disconnected and so desperate to stop doing the thing, they can be rendered unconscious. I do remember being at some work function. Oh God, multiple day training session, and it was hell on earth. It was hell on earth, and I didn't retain a single thing from that class. Nothing, and I had nothing to distract me with. It was awful. I was able to take some notes because I didn't care about any of it. They weren't great notes, and they went right into the recycling as soon as I was done. But okay, Forbin Colossus, last one. At 23:55, I have to remember everything. I have to remember everything. Spencer, please consider writing down what you're doing episodically or small vignettes. I can't write stuff down, dude. It doesn't work that way. I know it sounds really suspect. I know it sounds really, really suspect. I can't remember to do it. And if I did it, I wouldn't do it the next time. There's no system, there's no habit, there's no pattern. And any patterns are being constantly undermined by looking at everything else all around. I'd love to. In any case, please consider writing down what you're doing episodically or small vignettes. The sum of these short stories or descriptions of the work done add up to the how I run a business from home crafting watches. Some of it, anyway. If that sounds daunting, just write sentence by sentence how you make loom or what have you. Personally, I hate writing notes of what I do. It's tedious, but it seems less onerous if you write simple sentence-like statements so you don't get weighed down by thinking of catchy prose. Pics pile up quickly so you take them, but could be like book illustrations that add to the words. The perfect illustration of what I completely aspire to and deeply admire and would love to emulate, but know that I am incapable of emulating, is no. Hang on just one second. Sorry about that. Oh, anyway. Martin. I'm hesitating because it's just, I don't want to gush. Martin at Adventures in Amateur Watch Fettling. And this is no slight on anybody else. Part of the reason that I'm saying this is that, as you all know, I have trouble concentrating on more than one thing at a time. And so I tend to really narrow stuff down into sources of information and entertainment, all that stuff, pretty narrow, things that I know. So I'm sure there's a ton of watch stuff out there that's great that I'm unaware of. So, but for my particular interests and business and mind and everything else like this, Adventures in Amateur Watch Fiddling. His work is so meticulous and beautifully, beautifully presented. His writing is clear. It's it's extremely expertly well put together. Just from a visual standpoint, the entire site is easy to navigate. There's a ton of information on there. He has subheading directories on the left-hand side for all these different movement caliber types, specific model numbers. The pictures provided when he goes through one of his posts, if you click on them, it'll immediately take you to a huge big picture. I have I have survived a number of different watch mysteries, largely because of his work. And it's not just the depth and the breadth of his technical knowledge, but also his obvious honesty and humility. And when he makes a mistake, he owns up to it, and he talks about how he corrected the mistake. His work is good. It's just, and I go to his site. I love going to his site. It makes me, whenever I go, I'm always like, I could be so much better. Every time I go there, I'm like, man, I realize I'm looking at it from the outside, but it's dauntingly impressive to see his work. But I've learned a lot from him, and he and I have never met. I'd love to meet the guy. I absolutely would. But yeah. But the information that he has on that site is there's so much on there. There are guides. There are discussions, both cursory and very deep. That his website and that knowledge properly collated and put into a series of big old watch books. I mean, that's people don't really do that anymore these days, but I certainly hope that I never lose access to his site. Because again, it's not just an unbelievable wealth of information that is down in writing. It's so well presented, and it's so beautifully done. I mean, it's a treasure, and more people should go there. And his work deserves recognition, and so that was sort of a boop. Okay, well, folks, that's pretty much the end of it for now. I have a big old chunk of ammonite news after this, so if you want to know more about ammonites, I have some big ammonite news. Other than that, I'll see you through the weekend. Bye. Ammonites. And everybody's like, no. Trust me, I'll make this quick. Those who've been keeping mental track of what I've been talking about, the idea, this is the whole, where the Rocky Mountains are now, before they got pushed up, the land got pushed down slightly. And so everything that was the Rockies was a dip, and there was a big old ocean under there. My theory was mountains grow up after the rock is created from the sand in the bottom. Mountain building, rocks falling off, water down rolls all the gravel is ammonites, because even the small changes from the structure of the shell protect it, and that it's just has to be slightly stronger than the stuff around it. And I think that's valid. I've seen now ammonites everywhere basically that I've been able to look that had that water from that Tethys Sea over it. It seems to be like that. Okay, so we got that in mind. We found a rock in the backyard, but it wasn't one of the ones that was here. It was actually one of my own rocks. When Sadie was like, I don't know, 3, something like that, we went up Rocky Mountain National Park. We went up to the Continental Divide, drove all the way up to the top. It's like what, to 2,000, 12,000 feet, 13,000 feet, something like that. Way up on the top, like literally on the top of it. And they have some walking trails, and so we walked out. And it's just, it's not a big pointy mountain. It's not like Everest. It's like a big curving football field, and but it was beautiful and very, just tundra and rocks, the raw stuff of the mountains. And I remembered when I found this rock out back again, I was like, oh right, I got this up on top of the mountain. I got it because it had a interesting pattern of lichen on it. And I brought it back to the house, and then it got thrown in the backyard, and then I forgot about it. When I was looking at it, because we found it, and I'm like, and so it's impossible to see, I think, right now. I'm not set up correctly for anybody to show, because the thing is, the pieces of the ammonite are very similar to the pieces of the matrix that it's in. You can see right here, there's one curve right there, and the points, dum 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 dum. You can actually see the lines right there. Imagine this, like these curves right there. There's another circle right here, right where my pinky finger is, right around it. See, you've got that circle right there. So it starts here in the middle, and it runs around, and it curls up and over, and then it comes back in. It's weird. It's like resolving one of those magic puzzle things. And when you, all of a sudden, when you see it, everything goes click and it snaps into place. You've got more shell here, point, 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 point. With the center here, there's like, it looks like a little eyeball right there, right above my finger, right there. There's the middle. So you got the middle, and it curls around and around, more point, point, points. You can see there's internal structures here. And this is the other side. This isn't a dirt stain. That's actually a color of a ammonite section that's right there. So again, you can see this. There's the center, and the coil comes out. See, and there's another circle. And there's another circle. Okay, so you're like, okay, great. All right, fine. It's another ammonite. Another rock is an ammonite. You've certainly told us that rocks are ammonites, or at least this way. What this means, though, this was right on the very top of the mountain. There was nowhere else for it to have come from but the mountain itself. It came from the top of the mountain. And it's still quite high. So it's only been weathered by the weather and the mountain gradually debrising down over uncountable millennia. So this one never got washed or rounded or anything else like that. It never went through any kind of abrasion process or any kind of natural working. But what's interesting then, I just thought it was interesting. Well, there's a couple things. One, I think this helps prove my theory, potentially more likely, about the rocks coming down from the mountains with the rock building, because now I have a piece of the top of the mountain where all this stuff would have been coming from, and this unaltered piece of this mountain is ammonites. So there it is. The other thing, though, that did occur to me is talking about how the structure of the once previously existing structure of the ammonite would be apparent in the preservation of any of those structures. And you can see, there we go. Well, I mean, you've got your center here. There's a center. And it curls around like this. You can see there's a big, see the little black? It's like a fish scale almost kind of thing. Right there. And it curls around. But it actually follows the outside curve of this heteromorph ammonite. I mean, it's you've got your curls, and it whips around, and it comes back, and I mean, some of it's broken off here, but you just gotta turn and turn and turn to see it. Yeah, look at that. You can see the lines. And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to look at that because it's really hard to make out. Oh, of course. Well, there's the chambers. Look, there are the walls. One, boop, 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 boop. Coming from the central. In fact, the central goes zip, and it curls around and out and over. So, anyway, the mountains are made of ammonites. mountains are made of ammonites. It's just wacky. Don't you think it's wacky? I think it's wacky. There's so much stuff in here. Anyway, that's it. Okay, so here I am at the local supermarket, just looking at all the crazy ass ammonites. I was walking by. There's one I found. I think I took it actually, but I was looking at it and I was like, look at the ammonite. I was like, Helen Keller could see that, and she's dead. You got a curve there. This stone is doing something cool. This is old sand, and the weathering is finally getting to it. I bet you I could smash it. You can't see anything. Crazy to think that that was once beach sand. There's a lot here. I'm trying to keep myself looking for very specific minerals. If I can get that more of that green stone, I don't find it that often. It's actually hard to see. This stuff, like the pink stuff, you see all the time. The pink and the reds. Like, oh, there it is. There's Helen Keller's rock. Right there. What's this one? Look at that, sort of a compacted mud. Oh yeah, look at that. There's the center. There's the center, there's the curve, there's the curve. Crazy. So it's always fun. That's why I volunteer to do the shopping, because then I get to look at all the kick-ass rocks. I'll see if I can find a neat one. There's another one right there. There's the center, you can see the curve. It's just amazing to me. People keep stopping and being like, what you looking at? I'm like, well, let me tell you. And then they get bored and they walk away. Oh, that's a cool one. Look at the colors, huh? Yep, that's a keeper. I think that's nice. That's unusual. I really want to find more of this green stuff. That's not it. Oh well. Okay, that's good for now. If I find another cool one, I'll grab it. This one looks like it's a single stone that got broken. No, that's an illusion. It's gotten to the point that I have to be real particular about ones I take, because we have so many rocks now. It's just silly. But it's fun. I still can't believe that no one knows about this. It's crazy. It's like there's another form of air that we've just never noticed. It's everywhere. It's all around us. Yep. Jigga, 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 jigga. There are the diddlies. All these stones. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm going home.